Hi, Karen Craig Parker here. I thought I'd take a minute and talk to you a little bit about my brand new book, The Quantum Human. This is a book that I literally was inspired to write about 15 years ago in response to some things that were embedded in the teachings of traditional human design that my sacral, as a manifesting generator, just didn't respond to. I have a weird connection, if you will, to source, and I'm sure many of you relate to this. You know, when I was a little girl, I had an imaginary friend. That imaginary friend later grew up to become my spirit guide, part of my spirit team. And my imaginary friend's name was Thomas. And when I was about 4 years old, riding in the back seat of my mom's car, we had the windows down because she used to smoke in the car back in those days. I would always insist to my mother that we would have to buckle Thomas's seatbelt. There wasn't always a seatbelt available for some reason, but we would buckle Thomas's seatbelt and Thomas would ride around with me in the back seat of my car. And we would have these amazing conversations. And one of the things that Thomas always said to me, both when I was 4 and much later in my life and throughout the course of my life, is he said to me, "You are here to teach love. You are here to go forth and teach only love." And that has always been my mantra. There is a part of me that has a deep awareness that I am here as part of a massive spiritual team, if you will, to change and shift the frequency of what's happening on the planet. And when we think about making frequency shifts on the planet, lifting the vibration of the planet, I think we have a tendency, especially when we're really embedded in spiritual communities, to think of that as being this really complex thing. We talk about ascension, we talk about crystalline codes, we talk about all kinds of things that are aspects of holding higher frequencies of energies. And certainly those things are also important. And certainly, if anything, human design teaches us that we are designed to follow our own inner authority around what's right for us. And if you feel led and you are following your own inner guidance around what you need to do to shift and change and elevate your own frequency, do it, because that's your truth and that's your path. So even though I teach human design and many other things, I certainly would say there are many, many paths to opening your heart, to becoming enlightened, to waking up, to living in the full expression of the potential of the story of who you are. And at this time on the earth, certainly nothing is more important than us finding our right path and fulfilling it to our highest potential, because that is ultimately what's going to shift the frequency on the planet. And there are some stories in traditional human design that talk about the future of the world through a very dark lens. And that was definitely a story in the way that I was trained to understand human design that my sacral did not respond to. It just didn't ring true in any part of my body for myself. Now, I'm not saying that the story itself is true or not true. The thing that I really want to encourage us to explore is the possibility that the story we tell about the future of our world is actually unwritten as of this moment, and is a story that we collectively are writing. And certainly that story, because it's still in its creative infancy, has the potential to go in many different directions. And it certainly could go to the dark side, if you will. And it certainly can also go to the light. If we look at the part of the human design chart that is unchanging and enduring, even as the chart itself shifts, the G center, the heart of who we are, stays true, stays consistent. And the G center, if we look at it as the story that tells the truth about the heart of humanity, the true potential of our life direction, and the part of the chart that actually holds the magnetic resonance field that pulls into our experience things that match the heart of who we are, we see that the heart of the human story is designed to be self-loving. It is designed to be empowered. It is designed to be expressive and unique, and for each and every one of us to have a purpose that is ultimately about us telling the true story about who we really are. It is a story that It is a direction and a story that says we get to craft the narrative of who we are, and we get to tell it however we like, and we can change the story whenever we choose to. It's a direction in life, a truth that says that our direction is actually rooted in source and a higher purpose that transcends our personal ego, that requires our personal ego to serve it, but that is something that we serve. We're designed to serve something bigger than ourselves individually. It's a story, a truth that says we are designed to be fully embodied in our bodies and to use our bodies to amplify through devotion our capacity to hold and carry and work towards the fulfillment of love. It is a story that says we are designed to receive everything we need to fulfill our purpose, including the trajectory of our evolutionary plan. And it is a story that says our direction in life is here to give action, love, heart, unification towards or rooted in compassion. We're designed to be compassionate. That G-centered it's unchanging, it's enduring, and it is a true element of the story of who we all are together. And when I look at that and I listened to some of the stories, the darker stories about where we could potentially be headed, and I thought about the heart of who we are, the heart of who we are says we aren't necessarily going to be heading towards divisiveness and hiding and feeling embattled and threatened. The heart of who we are says we're moving towards a story that is more unified, a story that allows us to fulfill our true creative potential as humans together, collaboratively, collectively, in a sustainable, peaceful, egalitarian, loving, and just way. And I really feel that story of that future of humanity in the marrow of my bones, and I suspect that many of you do too. In fact, I suspect that those of you who feel and sense that, that's part of why these last few years have just felt so disruptive. And so I kept waiting for a response from within my own sacral of when am I going to write this book? When am I going to tell my story about the future of the world, what I have been told in the whisperings of my soul since I got here? And honestly, I didn't get the call from the universe, if you will, till last year when I was in bed with COVID for about 2 months. And in that time, my guides, Thomas, said, this is the year. This is the year you're going to write The Quantum Human. Okay, so I did. And it's been just a beautiful labor of love. It's a beautiful labor of love that I hope gives you hope, gives you possibilities and a sense of what might be available to us as a choice for the future, that gives you really actually literally an instruction manual about what you need to do to clear some of the old karma, the vestiges of material consciousness that might be holding you back from fully embodying faith and creating in the world from a place of faith. So I hope that this story, this book, speaks to your heart and inspires you and keeps you moving forward on your journey of the fulfillment of the true story of humanity and the fulfillment of the cosmic plan.